Hello all, and welcome to Formulations. As always, Formulations is brought to you by ThoughtForm. ThoughtForm is a national communications design firm located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with a mission to bring beautiful clarity to complex ideas, driving understanding and change. Today, we'll be speaking to Steve Frank to gain insight into the world of business-to-business sales. Steve Frank is ThoughtForm's Director of Business Development and Principal Owner. Welcome to the set, Steve.
I'm psyched to be here.
It's good to have you. Are you ready to get started?
Totally.
Great. All right, question one. Communications is a key part of sales. What's one thing you see salespeople often get wrong when communicating to a prospective client?
Just one?
Just one.
Okay, well, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I've got two,
Okay,
but they're related.
all right. Okay.
So here's the first one. I think the first one is really about authenticity and being authentic. This isn't anything I think that's new or earth-shattering, right? But what I see is the message is just not truly expressing personality, spirit of what that person is trying to offer, that product or that service. So it's important that that comes through through verbal messaging, through visual communication and design, any type of kind of touch point. That message has to be clear. I think we have, over the time, I say we as a salesperson, we've commoditized our products and services by the way that we sell them. So we've kind of lost that understanding of how authentic our messages need to be. And I think people now have a new built-in, I call it a bullshit system. And I've got a prop. It's a bullshit prop. I'm guessing every decision, every business person that's making a purchase has one of these. And it has a warning, bullshit alert. This is true. It's fun, but it's true. So people can detect when salespeople are, again, trying to promote a product or service, what is BS, and what is truly real and authentic, and what is a differentiator. Here's the second part. I know you asked for one, but here's the second part of it. And that's about understanding all the considerations that a person who's purchasing a product or a service has to make, right? They are moving beyond just these kind of transactional elements, traditional transactional elements of price, performance, and really knowing what is of value to them. And there's a whole range of what those might be in terms of what they expect. And as a salesperson, we have to then modify our value proposition to some of those considerations. And that's something I think is being missed in a lot of, and I say we, I've done this before, that we make, that's a common mistake that we make.
What does a B2B sales team have to do to be successful?
It's a loaded question. But let me first start by saying the difference between B2C and B2B is not always cut and dry. So in a B2B scenario, the sellers have to optimize a number of different things like price, meeting specifications, complying with regulations, following ethical practices. These are elements that are just considered table stakes, right? The buyers are making certain decisions. They are running those through certain total cost to ratio algorithms to make sure that they are able to meet the kind of standards of kind of ethical practices, of making sure prices are in the right places, and again, performance is met. So that's something that I think in a B2B scenario, sellers have to understand. Now, to be successful, right, you have to overcome those table stakes. You have to provide something beyond that. And that, again, is about kind of understanding what those considerations are that a buyer has. Those considerations might be value-based. Like, I need to be able to scale this. I need to be able to be more flexible, nimble by using this product or this service. I need to improve my brand equity and my reputation. I need to meet our vision. So these are things that kind of go above and beyond that, and the salesperson has to understand that to be successful. I think also that a successful B2B salesperson has to start and begin the process with exploration, understanding what a buyer kind of needs. And it's not just about solving today's problem, but it's really about solving tomorrow's problem and committing to that customer, really making sure that we understand what they need, because there's no way that we can advise the right solution without knowing that. So I would say those are kind of two things that are critically important to be successful in a business-to-business scenario, which is a little different from a business-to-consumer scenario.
Why have consultative sales strategies become so popular in the last few years?
That's a good question. I think that there's this battle for differentiation that's shifting away from this traditional transactional element. And I think what's being required is for people, in my case, someone who's selling a product or a service in this business-to-business scenario, of being masters of the intangibles and understanding the total customer experience. That is something that's not written into textbooks, but I think is starting to become part of that consultative selling approach, really understanding the service, the support, the interaction, the communication, the connectivity. Knowledge is king in these scenarios, and I think that you have to kind of commit to understanding all those elements. That's also related to how things are becoming much more connected, complicated, moving fast. That connectivity between all of those kind of intangibles and that complete customer experience are, I think, forcing us to move into this consultative selling approach, right? A product or a singular product or service is not going to solve it. It's all connected. There's a relationship between all these elements. When we are selling a product or a service to a business, we have to know how that is connected to their systems, connected to their people, connected to their process, connected to how they are serving their customers. And that's where that consultative selling approach comes into play, to give them kind of full value and not just, here's a product that's going to allow you to do your task faster. As I talked about earlier, I think that's just table stakes. And so really providing a broader suite of understanding and value around all these connected elements is critical. I think that it all comes back to that value and how do we kind of fulfill all those needs, right? And that again is allowing them to be more agile, allowing them to feel they've got a better cultural fit with our product or our service that we're trying to sell. Design and aesthetics are an important part of that kind of consultative approach that moves beyond just a singular product or a service. Reducing anxiety is another part of it, or scalability, or kind of brand equity. And again, it's now becoming all connected. So a consultative approach is something that I think is just becoming more and more common and is just naturally becoming more and more requested. To know, again, how our product or service fits within a whole suite of all of those critical business elements.
Well, that's about all the time we have. Thank you for joining us.
Sure.
And thank you for tuning in to Formulations. If you're coming to us from YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe and check out all of our other videos. Do you have any burning questions about business communication? Post it in the comments and we might answer it in our future videos. That's all for today. See you next time.
Thank you.